will see KOSQ return to that carry style where he's trying desperately to take everybody that he can off of the map.
Well, as you say, we are on patch 7.16. Mysterious Monkeys on the blue side to start us off. Averse to the way that the color scheme of picks and bans displays it. They're going to get rid of the Galio and the Alistair, and Callisto and Makan taken away by Schalke.
Also averse to their successes. Not really a lot of success on blue side for Mysterious Monkeys. We were looking at it earlier today, Medic, and you were saying they've only had one win on the blue side. A lot of that is because they like to counterpick mid lane, counterpick top lane as the last pick. Now, this draft, 7-16. Callisto, I think, is going to rise in priority, but look, Zac not banned on this patch. No Elise ban. We will catch up with the rest of the bans as we go through. The Jarvan is gone. Rakan is gone. This is more adjustment than I was expecting to see on red side bans in 7-16 already, and we're only in the first draft.
Tristana going to get locked in straight away for the Mysterious Monkeys. A very strong AD carry and one that we see prioritized when the Callista's banned.
And the reason is, look, Kalista, Caitlyn banned away. Now you've got Xayah and Tristana as the best AD carries that remain in the pool. And I favor Tristana over Xayah. You have a little bit earlier spike in the game, a little bit more lane presence, a little more secure. I think she just overall does everything as good as Xayah while also having extra strengths.
Yuki has played that Tristana twice across the split. We're not actually going to see the Xayah locked in yet, Stress. It's going to be the Thresh and the Elise for Schalke 04. Memento known so much for his early pressure and for his ability to gank on things like Elise.
Very fast draft as we go through this. The Elise has been answered with a Sejuani, a little bit more towards that pick and skirmish oriented when you look at using the ultimate. The Braum passive we've seen comboed very well with Sejuani, works as well with the Tristana alongside that. A Jace has been locked in. Now, we know Smitty J plays this up in the top lane. It has flex potential. I was not expecting to see a blind pick Jace. What it does do is mean Schalke don't need to ban Gnar. They don't need to take that away because it is a good matchup in the top lane should Smitty J want to run that matchup. And Gnar is one of the best blind pickable top laners we actually have right now in the meta.
And it's something that we talked about a lot in our build-up, Stress, was this 1v1 matchup in the top lane and how the junglers can influence it, because we've heard from a few sources that people think Kikis is kind of just a straight-up upgrade to Smitty J. If he can find something to match up into this Jace, that is definitely going to be a point of focus for us.
Absolutely a point of focus up in that top lane. An interesting ban considering the nerfs to LeBlanc on 7-16. They weren't so significant to take her out of the meta, but the wave clear was reduced. Kadril has been carrying on the LeBlanc, though. A big far cry from the way he used to play just the Twisted Fate. The carries have come through, so taken away from this draft. Camille, Shen banned. Two more matchups that can do okay into that Jace. So now, we need to see what Kikis has in his arsenal up against a Jace. We know Kennen in days gone by has been played as a matchup there, but Schalke will settle themselves after a Xayah ban from Mysterious Monkeys on a Varus in the bottom lane. That will give them some aspects of being able to push against Tristana. It's not that easy, though.
Still a few options for the Mysterious Monkeys. A blind picked Syndra in the mid lane. Not too surprising to see Syndra as your blind pick champion. Orianna is another option if you want to go down that path, and both these mid laners very good at the Orianna. I
wonder whether Kikis will look towards a Rumble here. We've seen Jace picked into Rumble as well. There's not a whole lot of matchups that are particularly great here, and Irelia is getting locked in. We know Irelia is good against Gnar because you can take the trades between that level 5 to 8. I wonder whether this matchup is exactly the same, not one that we see often at all. But Kikis used to be a big Irelia player himself, so I think that is why they're drafting towards this. But we're expecting a mid lane pickup here, likely to be some scaling.
It's going to be the Corki for Kadril. Good scaling, easy enough, and a safe lane in that mid lane as well. It's his most played champion across the course of the split. He's never been seen as the priority carry on Schalke 04, rather he just does his job.
So, as we take a step back, this was quite a fast draft, we now need to look at the compositions. A little bit more of the Irelia puzzle maybe starts to settle itself in my head. We spoke about how Kikis, split push threat here. I would estimate that Kikis anticipates to take over this game in the split push later on, likely to concede a little bit in the early laning phase, and the rest of this team comp out of Mysterious Monkeys can play on the defensive. You have a Sejuani from range, Syndra from range, whereas Schalke, looking towards the pick, you've got Elise, Varus, Thresh. These picks all together can look to get those skirmishes started, and on top of that, A lot of poke. It almost resembles an old poke style when you got a Jace, you got a Corki, you got yourself a Varus as well with the empowered Qs. So very interesting compositions on 716 here, Medic. There is a lot to talk about.
There's a huge amount for us to break down. If you guys want to get involved in the conversation as well, make sure you jump on Twitter at LOL Esports is the Twitter page you want to access your way to through your browser, whichever one you use, and then use the hashtag S04win if you think Schalke 04 will take the first game of this best-of-5 series, or hashtag MMwin if you think the mysterious monkeys are going to be able to show why the LCS is just that little bit better than Challenger Series for the time being. I'm going to get on to the Summoner's Rift stress. It is going to be a barnstormer of a day. I can sense it already, and both these teams want to get up on a good foot in Game 1.
Whew, okay, as we load into Game 1, I'll let you talk more than I did in Champion Select, Medic. I know that one was a quick one, and as we're on to the Rift, suddenly we have a little bit of time to relax. So, 716, there were a lot of discussions about Relic Shield on Reddit. That has been hot-fixed for this version of the game that we are playing on, so it will be working as intended. Outside of that, we've got the Braum Tristana lane that we've seen a lot of, and a lot of our discussion was that laning phase wasn't necessarily going to be a focus for these two bot lanes. I want to see if that holds up, because Tristana Braum can have a lot of kill threat.
Kozju takes a little bit of poke out from Smitty J coming down from that top lane. And yes, I totally agree with you, Stress. The Tristana and the Braum can do a great job. Even Thresh in lane can be very aggressive. Norskeren actually used to play with Upset on Mouse Sports, and they were known for more aggressive lanes in those times.
And that's perhaps where the Varus comes into it as well, because when we look at Varus, he hasn't been picked particularly high rate here in Europe, but when people were discussing the 715 meta, it was like, well, he still's going to win the lane, he's going to be able to push, he should be okay. Didn't really see it because the Tristanas, the Kallistas were available. The Kalista wasn't available here, so I like that Schalke were drafting not necessarily with Xayah as a linchpin in their composition, and I want to see how this Varus works out for them.
Easy enough start for Memento on towards this blue buff. He has been a very strong early jungler across the course of his career and across the course of this split. And I want to see if he looks up towards that top lane, because so often we talk about the amazing Kikis synergy going towards top, ganking time and time again for Kikis in that top lane. Memento can do the same, and it would ring true for Schalke's idea of playstyle early on in this split.
So Amazing has just tracked up back through the jungle, talking about where Amazing may end up. The ward spotted him taking the Raptor camp coming down from the red. I didn't catch whether that ward spotted him, but I don't think it actually did. I am going to double check, because this could mean they're anticipating Amazing to be on the bottom side of the map, and therefore won't anticipate him being top. The ward actually did not spot Amazing as he came through.
And Schalke have taken quite a heavy road to get here. It's been long and arduous for them. Of course, they lost to the Misfits Academy in the playoffs in spring. Most of the roster actually still sitting on the Mysterious Monkeys, only a couple of replacements. And then they beat out crowd favorites, Team RB, to get to the promotion tournament this time. Looking a lot cleaner, looking a lot more confident on stage.
And looking way better than that initial series back in the previous playoff series. Now, we look at this. Memento came down into the jungle, looked to try and get onto the blue buff, actually spotted Amazing out and placed a ward. Both junglers have gone back and forth here. Mid presence and push is in favor of Mysterious Monkeys. They have the Syndra. That's expected in the early game. So that means Kadril actually is going to be slower to move across if kozQ keeps the pressure up. You can see he's pushing him back in the lane, which means Memento doesn't have support here, but nobody yet from MM is roaming. Now kozQ's coming across, but Memento already has that blue.
It's just a little bit too late from kozQ with the roam there. He wasn't able to get there in time. Amazing had the blue stolen away from him, and that can harm you as a Sejuani jungle early on.
Yeah, and the other aspect of this is the fact that Memento is in that jungle. Kikis has to be careful on the top side, because Kikis was actually getting pushed in himself. We talked about this Irelia-Jace matchup. The expectation I would have is that the early laning phase is difficult. Kikis will likely have to play under his tower, have to be very aware of Memento, which is why he's placed these wards. And then we'll have to take over the game later. You can see he's heavily down in CS already, has used his potion, is now relying on Doran's shield and the Q when it is available to kill the minion and get that cooldown reduction back onto the Q. So Kikis, he's going to have a rough time for the beginning of this game. And Amazing, not having his blue, is going to hinder him as well.
An incredibly rough time. Already almost 20 farm behind in this top lane. Only 4.5 minutes in. That's a 400 gold lead that Schalke have extended only in top. And across the board, they actually are about 700 gold ahead, Stress.
Yeah, Schalke, even in the bottom lane, we mentioned how Varus a little bit more laning focused than we saw out of Schalke. We kind of came into this game saying, hey, they sacrificed their bottom lane in picks and bans. Well, they didn't get the Tristana here. They weren't playing up against the Kalista that they were doing so against RB every single game. And we're seeing a different play style out of Schalke, which I do like. I like seeing they have that added aspect to their game, because I think my worry was if they came into the promotion tournament and were only playing scaling AD carries, maybe they'd get exploited by some of the LCS bottom lanes if they weren't prepared to take a laning phase.
Memento has put a lot of time up towards this top lane. It is a playstyle we saw from Schalke actually near the start of the Challenger Series split, and it looks like Memento is going for a dive. Kikis will back away, but I want to highlight both of these top laners again. In picks and bans, we said a lot of people are saying Smitty J is just a downgrade from Kikis. Well, at the moment, it looks like Kikis is a downgrade from Smitty J.
At this point, Kikis is in a matchup that is very difficult. We can see they do share a bunch of champions. Gnar is another champion that they share on top of this, but both of them love to play the carries on top. We didn't include Kikis' unorthodox champions because we haven't seen them for a while. We haven't seen a lot of the carries. Irelia is an old favorite of his, but this is why we anticipate so much action in the top side. Both of them love to have the lane presence, trying to get the advantage here. Here comes Amazing. Can he get the Q?
Can't quite connect, but he will get the stun off, and Kikis jumps in as well. Both flashes burnt. Smitty J flashed away as well. And Mysterious Monkeys will not be able to get the full engage off as Smitty J turns the damage back around.
Yeah, at this point, I even wonder whether that's acceptable for Smitty J at this point. I think his flash being down, he would prefer it to be available, but the fact that Kikis used his and then pushed the wave out, that wave is going away from his tower for now, so all they need is a little Memento, an itsy-bitsy spider coming up to the top lane, and maybe this Irelia just falls further and further behind. I gotta commend the way Memento spent time in the early game, knowing that they could put this Irelia so far behind, because if Irelia does get into the game, that's when Schalke have to worry. And Memento knows he doesn't need to go mid, because they're at an acceptable position now that Kadril is back in the lane. And bottom lane was winning as well at the time he was investing topside.
You can see the respect both teams are giving to the enemy jungler coming out from their summoner spells more than anything else. Usually if you see early ganking junglers, if you see junglers that can lock you up, you're going to have these cleanses in the mid lane. And both Kadril and Cosq realized that if Memento or if Amazing came into that lane, they would get locked up, and they need to be able to get away from the start of that CC chain.
Here's some experience coming through, though. This is something we've seen in Challenger and in LCS, but Mysterious Monkeys are the ones making this play. Tristana and Braum are heading up the top lane already. As blue buff gets given over to Kadril, they know Schalke are still on the bottom side, haven't recalled out yet. This is saying, let's get our Irelia out of this situation. We do not want Kikis sat in a lane where he cannot get any farm further. So what they do, they bring Tristana to the top side, use some of this pushing power with Kikis on top of it, standing in a bush where they're not killing the ward because they're waiting to see whether Smitty J stays in the lane. But look, this is a play for the tower. See if they can get the dive.
The dive punch of Prism, Dreams there as well with the stun lock. He's going to take up the tower.
They're all here.
He's got the unleashed power, and eventually Smitty J will fall for first blood as Mysterious Monkeys collapse.
Turns out Mysterious Monkeys to say, okay, let's invest more. Let's put more than Schalke are investing in the top side and try and rush this down. So they get the first blood. I don't know whether they'll get the first tower blood. It looks like with the 5 people pushing, they will just get it.
Oh!
Time travel.
Oh, it goes.
Time travel
gets it.
is a mysterious thing. I believe, actually, it was top lane.
Was it
got
actually?
With our split screen, I believe our observers were on ever so slightly different timing.
Oh, that's a shame. We do have multiple observers, of course, and some of them are offset, so we can get replays to you guys. So I apologize for that, but it was Mysterious Monkeys who got the first tower block.
Yeah, out of clarity, that's the point that we're trying to make here, is that it is MM actually coming out on top for that trade when it comes to the gold. So MM know they were in a tough situation. Bring 5 people to the top side using the mid presence that they already had, the push that Cosq had, roams up to the top side, we're able to get the tower down here. And Mysterious Monkeys, although they are still behind in gold, that was the nice attempt to get back into the game, the attempt to offset. And now, if they can put Kikis in one of these lanes where he can just farm comfortably, he can try to get further into the game.
Still 30 farm, or 25 farm, down in that top lane. The rest of the lanes have equalized out, but Upset has been able to get an advantage for himself as Memento goes aggressive onto Cosq. I want to come back to the point in the build-up there, Stress, about how Mysterious Monkeys have actually developed with the LCS and how they were the ones making these proactive, macro-orientated plays, which is not something we tend to see from challenger teams.
No, it necessarily isn't, but we're into a fight.
Glacial Prism once again from Amazing. That's a dead Spider. Smitty J's going to fall as well, and Schalke Null Fear lose 2 in the mid lane.
Yeah, Schalke just playing heavily into mid lane while they're trying to push top lane. This almost screams of committing to too many things, but look, Mysterious Monkeys are back on the map. They're able to get back out in time. Amazing comes up, gets the ult off, knows they have the numbers advantage, and once again can end up taking a kill. It all stemmed from Cosq being low, so that's why Schalke are saying, okay, we can push for this tower, but look, in comes Kikis from the top side. Ult comes through into the fight. Dreams, he's the one that picks up the kill, but at this point, Mysterious Monkeys a little frustrated the kills didn't go over to Aurelia, but 2 kills nonetheless picked up for themselves. Mysterious Monkeys, this is what we needed to see out of the LCS team, was the ability to react to Schalke's plays, and it's been going well for them.
Just looking across the items as we get to this 10-minute mark, Mysterious Monkeys have been able to get themselves a 700 gold lead or so, and I really want to focus on this top lane because we've talked about it a lot.
Me too.
There's a Blade of the Ruin King on its way from Smitty J, but what is Kikis doing, Stress? He has a serrated Dirk.
Building lethality. Now, I have seen Aurelia's going Duskblade as a second or third item in solo queue. I haven't seen it a whole lot as a first item, but what I would hypothesize is the fact that Jace doesn't build a lot of armor, Medic, so at this point, if you can get lethality, great against low armor targets, a lot of damage to come through, and on the side lane threat, you can get vision control. If this does end up being a Duskblade, you'll also get that massive damage proc as well on trades. So maybe this is Kikis saying, hey, I'm playing for the side game later. I don't want a Trinity Force right now. Just let me kill him faster.
I think you can look across the rest of the team and say who's going to build armor anywhere.
Very true. On
this Schalke Null Fear lineup. You've got no pure tanks. Thresh is your most tanky member, and Memento's even going towards the Runic Echoes, down a little bit of an AP route to start himself off, not going for that tanky Elise we sometimes see.
I find it interesting that the Blade of the Ruin King's coming out as well here, so we get to see some of that percent damage. You've got Sejuani on the opposite side, you've got the Braum, also gives you better trading if you can against that Aurelia, but this is going to be a very interesting top lane matchup even further. And I am aware that we're 12 minutes in and the majority of the discussion on this game has been top lane, but everything is being played towards it.
Exactly.
Both teams, we expected this from them, that everything should be top side.
And it's not often you get to focus on a top lane matchup when it's all like tanks and Cho'Gath and Gragas and all this boring stuff. And Kikis has actually been playing more of those tanks than these carries across the last few weeks, so it's exciting to see him revert to his norm and go for something a little bit more aggressive. Let's reset for a second here, Stress. Let's reevaluate how this game is setting up for these two teams. Because we talked about the 1-4 for Mysterious Monkeys. They are looking to try and get to a point where they can have Kikis splitting in a side lane, but he doesn't quite seem to be there yet.
Yeah, isn't there yet. Was just soaking up some farm on the top side as Mysterious Monkeys are also trying to control bottom lane. We are entering the point of the game, though, that Schalke's composition does start to have a little bit more bite. We just saw the siege attempt come out from the Varus, from the Corki, when the Jace, if they have that opportunity to bring the Jace alongside as well. Schalke have a lot of damage to anybody standing behind the tower, and that is where Mysterious Monkeys have to respect, is if they only leave Yuki there, then Yuki will get poked down. They cannot commit to all 3 lanes at all points of the game. You can see Mysterious Monkeys trying to offset this with an exchange in mid lane, trying to get the crowd control down on Kadril, but it doesn't quite land. It does, however, deny Schalke's push again, because that mid tower was quite low, and Mysterious Monkeys were in danger of losing it as one of the first towers going down in the game. Of course, 1 for each team so far.
Buff stolen by Amazing. Comeuppance for Memento after he stole that blue buff earlier on. Mysterious Monkeys are going to group up towards this top side and have a beefy minion wave here to aid their efforts in taking down the second tower of the game for themselves.
It was a Duskblade, Medic.
Oh, baby.
It was a Duskblade. That, it's going to be a fun one when we see Kikis jump through, but now we're moving to a portion of the game where it's a lot less about individual matchups. we have to look at vision control, which is heavily in favor on the top side of Mysterious Monkeys. There are a number of wards for Schalke placed around the Baron, which is enough to deter a Rift Herald start, if you'll excuse me. At this point, Mysterious Monkeys can at least play around anything Schalke are trying to do. Schalke can't siege without Mysterious Monkeys seeing them coming. The same can be said for the bottom lane. Kikis is going to try and assume a little bit more control as well, but Kadril may not be lucky enough to get this tower at this point because two members just stepped up.
Not quite going to be able to secure the objective for himself. And in Picks and Bans, we were discussing the early game nature, the pick composition coming out from Schalke 04, the Thresh, the Elise, the ability to take people out with the chains of corruption coming out from Varus, and they just haven't seemed to be able to actually get these catches. They haven't seemed to be able to work a way around the Mysterious Monkey's vision.
A lot of it is stemmed by the fact that Memento invested topside to make sure Smitty J was ahead. Here's the catch.
There's the cleanse flash. Oh, you're scared! I can't believe he did that!
Wow. That
came from nowhere.
That was great. That looked like almost beyond max range hook. That was a beautiful play because CosQ cleansed out, flashed out, gets flash hooked on. We have to see that again. That should at some point result in the tower, whether it's now or when CosQ's flash isn't available so we can't go back into the mid lane, but that was beautiful. Just as you're talking about, we haven't seen the catch potential. You get to see everything.
Schalke 04 obviously reading my mind as they do manage to make their first kill of the game. They are still slightly behind in gold here, though. 400 or so in the deficit. And something that we haven't yet seen from Schalke is the ability for Smitty J to dominate a lane. Kikis is still keeping up to him in farm, or keeping that deficit only at the 30 minion mark. And the rest of the lanes are only getting a 10 to 15 CS advantage for Schalke. Catch onto Memento as he's going to get stunned up and caught down by Amazing and the rest of the Mysterious Monkeys.
Out of the darkness, that's the vision control topside we were talking about. Like, they have the ability for Mysterious Monkeys to find a member of Schalke as they come through the jungle, look for a play. I kind of have to wonder, being Smitty J, whether... Okay, let's just look at this. This is all we need to talk about. So, stun comes through, CosQ trying to connect Chains of Corruption into the flash. Prediction flash hook. That was beautiful. That was... Normally you see a prediction hook, or you see a flash hook. Very rarely do you see a flash prediction hook. That was beautiful. I like it.
That makes me so happy to see. And that's the reason that people fear Schalke 04, because each of their members, even their most inexperienced member in Norskeren, can make plays like this. They can be playmakers individually, and that's something we haven't seen so much from Mysterious Monkeys across the course of the split. Schalke now take a tower in the mid lane. They get the second turret of the match for themselves, and they actually take the gold lead once again in their favor.
And what this now is going to allow Schalke to do is control the bottom side. We saw Mysterious Monkeys owning the top half of the map. They do have the Rift Herald. Now Schalke will look towards the bottom side of the map. Smitty J is likely to fall back here because he was pushed up quite heavily, creating a lot of pressure in that bottom lane. We were talking a bit about why Smitty J hasn't dominated. He does have a decent amount of gold, almost 2,000 on his person right now. You also have to look at a situation like this. There is a lot of pressure in this game, not only because it's in the promotion tournament, but you are in a lane matchup that unlikely have you ever played in a competitive environment where you're sitting playing Jace versus Irelia. Like, this is a matchup that they have to read, especially when the Irelia is going Duskblade first. Very different trading pattern to the top laners that we've been seeing recently.
And with the Sheen as well. That's like that first hit is going to absolutely chunk you out. Irelia obviously not affected by the changes to Duskblade on 7:15, where it was switched around a little bit for ranged champions. Coming up to the 20-minute mark, Stress, both of these compositions are beginning to get their first completed items, their first spikes. We've got Double Blade of the Ruin King for Schalke and a Trinity Force. Whereas on the side of Mysterious Monkeys, that Duskblade just keeps catching my eye. Morello for CosQ in the mid lane, and Yuki looks to be going either Rapid Fire Cannon or Static Shiv first after picking up a BF Sword.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of adjustments when it comes to that Tristana build. Of course, you end up getting both of them. You get the long range with the additional empowered hit. So in comes the Rift Herald. Wave isn't quite behind the Rift Herald either here. But look, Mysterious Monkeys had to get it to work. They actually just got the Upset ultimate there as well. Upset trying to throw that out because they know that if they catch somebody, the amount of follow-up crowd control is effective. Now Mysterious Monkeys want to go in.
Dreams jumps in with the Glacial Fissure. The Prism came out to start it off. The hook onto Dreams once again. Another kill for Schalke No Fear. Only their second of the game. Mysterious Monkeys get the tower and get away.
Yeah, so Mysterious Monkeys use the Rift Herald as phase 1 of the push, then follow up with the wave. The Sejuani ultimate comes out, basically says, okay, you have to back away from this because while you're stunned, we'll take the tower. It does result in a kill going over to Mysterious Monkeys, but over to Schalke, but I think Mysterious Monkeys will still be okay with that. As much as they would not like Dreams to die there, still ends up being fine. They get the tower from it on this second phase of the play. So out comes the Sejuani ultimate, right onto SmittyJ, forces him to flash as well. That's a key thing here as this lane goes back out onto the side lane. We'll have to watch whether Amazing comes out to the side lane and re-ganks SmittyJ while he's not got flash.
Yeah, flash economic in favor of Mysterious Monkeys for the time being. I want to come back to the discussion we had in Picks and Bans about how these compositions work. Because Mysterious Monkeys, we looked at them and we said, if you can get Aurelia into a side lane, if you can get Kickers ahead, that's how this team's going to win. If Kickers can dominate the game.
Kadril got it. Easy steal over the wall.
It's easy when you see it happen. It's not so hard to judge. I'm not sure if he had vision of it or not, but he still did a very good job. But
there was a ward on the edge.
My question becomes, Stress, how do Mysterious Monkeys come online? At what point is Kickis strong enough that they can rely on him to 1 and 4 split push?
My gut instinct tells me it's already at the point where Mysterious Monkeys have come online. And the reason I say that is because actually not to do with Kickis. I think it's more to do with Amazing at this point. Amazing is a player that you give him an engaged champion like this, he will start the skirmishes that he knows Mysterious Monkeys can take. And you look at the Syndra, you look at the Tristana getting a little bit closer to the point where you're at 2 items. This is a moment where I think Mysterious Monkeys is starting to dictate the pace. Kickis will get stronger and then therefore take over the matchup, but I would estimate that this right now feels like a very comfortable part of the game for MM.
Alongside that, we're also getting to the part of the game where these 2 team fight AD carries really come into their own as well. Upset and Yukia, carries for the team that don't rely on mechanically outplaying their opponents in lane. Rather, they wait for the team fights. They wait until there are many members of the opposition groups around, and they use their positioning and their ability to output damage in a fight to win the game for their teams. We're getting to a point where vision is so important around the Baron, where we're going to start seeing more skirmishes and more team fights.
Yeah, we are, and I think with all of the discussion about Mysterious Monkeys coming online, I don't think that means Schalke are uneasy at this point either, because look, the Varus should be strong right now, Jace does have a decent amount of damage, and Kadril's getting stronger too. I think it's a lot to do with who is going to start the fight, whether it's Amazing looking for the fight or whether it's a catch coming from Memento or Norscarin. And I think that's why this is a very interesting clash of styles, because in some respects, both teams' playstyle is quite similar. And now you bring them up against each other, you end up in a situation where, regardless of the draft, they still want to play towards those tendencies. And if both teams want to play through their solo laner on the top lane, then you start to look at who's going to scale better, and we think it's going to be Kickis. And that's why there's this back and forth between MM and Schalke on who exactly can push the bottom lane out.
Something we do see from Schalke, though, is even if they don't scale as well as the opposing team, when they do get a lead, especially around the 20 to 25 minute mark, they are able to snowball that away from their opposition. They're able to take tower after tower. It's what Mysterious Monkeys are looking to do down in this bottom lane once again, but Memento and Amazing were there to try and distract.
And importantly, it was Memento entering first. Kickis actually burned his flash. We saw the flash particles just fade away on the map. The key thing on that is, remember, we said SmittyJ burned his flash in mid lane. That should be Amazing. Here's the hook.
Hook onto Dreams. Chain of Corruption comes out again, upset with the kill. His second of the game, and this is where we start to see Schalke get rolling. This is the Schalke that, when they get picks, will start to get towers. Expect to see that gold lead change quite drastically in the next couple of minutes.
And they're making it work with quite a little amount of vision here, because there was control wards, there's wards all the way through the river for Mysterious Monkeys. There's a few wards in select places that actually just track Dreams coming over to the exchange, but beautiful setup again. But now the catch looking for Kadril.
Ooh, doesn't use the Glacial Prism. Memento is caught off towards the side as Coscu puts the damage down. Look at that, has an unleashed power to the face of Memento. A hook onto Amazing. tower did fall in favor of Schalke 04, so they now have about a 2,000 gold lead.
Yeah, very back and forth game, very enjoyable game as well on this. Amazing isn't starting the Baron, he's just clearing out vision control. But if you look to the other side of the Rift, if Schalke ever were to start Baron, you've got a hypercharge on Jace with the Blade of the Ruin King, you've got a Blade of the Ruin King on Varus. Very quick to take if they can actually get there. Of course, percent damage coming from that Elise as well. You've got Corki. So there's always that thing. If Dreams were to get picked off again, for a third time in this game, maybe that turns into a Baron for Schalke because they'll have the man advantage and might be able to take it, but we're not quite looking at that. We're looking at Kadril and Kozq.
Laying in wait, Kozq will get the knockback, the cleanse from Kadril to try and get some more damage out, and it's a flash burn from Kozq across the wall.
So here's one area where the mid changes may start to take effect. Syndra had some nerfs to her damage for the mid and late game portions when it comes to the ratio on her Q. Now, we didn't see it there, but this is the point of the game where it's going to start to show up. Corki, on the other hand, his changes were in the laning phase more focused. He's already weathered through that and is now to a part of the game where he's going to become stronger and get stronger and stronger for the rest of the game.
Almost up towards those 2 items as well. Looks like he's going in initiation. Oh, as I say it, Stress. The prediction is unreal from me today. 2 items on him, 2 items on Kozq as well, who's looked a lot stronger in this game than he has across the course of the LCS. We wondered if perhaps it was just the caliber of opposition that was causing him to struggle, and that seems to have been the case.
Seems to have been for now, and I think we haven't touched too much on the players in mid lane in this matchup quite much. And we of course, are hoping to have 5 games to talk about them, but I do want to touch on the fact that Kadril is a player that I find it difficult to place where he ranks right now, because I see things that say, okay, sure, he can carry on games very well with LeBlanc in Challenger. Is that going to be better than Kozq? I don't know, but then you see performances from Kozq where you're like, oh, okay, so it's not feeling too well in LCS. Maybe you're lower than Kadril, but actually, Kozq is holding his own, and I think that back and forth, again, is another thing that makes this matchup very difficult to predict. And
I totally agree with you. I think we talked over this, Stress, and we have differing opinions of Kadril. I rate him perhaps slightly higher than you rate him, just it's part of my personal opinion.
Sure.
And I think one of the difficulties in rating him is the fact he tends to play these pretty safe mid laners. He plays Orianna, he plays Corki a lot, he plays Syndra. They're not really mid laners that, if your team is doing well, you can be exceptional on, because you're more there for the wave clear and for a bit of burst and a bit of poke and maybe a good ultimate from time to time. We'll have to see if Schalke are able to unleash that mid laner as they set up vision around the Baron for the time being. Kick is still split pushing here, Stress, and has finished that Trinity force.
And it's going to be the tower going in favor. Kikis can take this even if he needs to TP, but we mentioned Schalke, very fast Baron take if they end up starting it. You can see they have the vision control. They're trying to bring Kikis across the map, but we know Kikis historically doesn't TP until it is absolutely necessary, and he should have started this at MM. That's a great Baron take out of Schalke.
The fight might start straight afterwards, though, as Mysterious Monkeys are looking for a fray. Norscaren push back the Glacial Prism, does not connect, but the slow does, and Dreams lands the Glacial Fissure on towards his enemy support. Kikis has the flank. Here he comes. He's looking to join the fight as Schalke back away up towards the top lane. Smitty J jumps in. Dreams so low, somehow survives up to the back. That's 2 members for the Mysterious Monkeys as they look for more. Kikis still on the flank, still has the flash, still can engage. Schalke need to get out of this, but they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And Kikis is looking so hard for the engage. Amazing jumps in onto Upset, trying to get onto the backline. Memento has jumped onto the backline of Mysterious Monkeys, but he's swiped away with the unleashed power. However, Schalke are able to get 2 kills. Look at that from Kikis straight onto Upset. Kadril still full HP. He'll get another. Perhaps he'll even go for more as the Mysterious Monkeys overstep in the top lane.
A lot of action in that. A brilliant Baron play out of Schalke, knowing they can rush it down in time, trying to drag Kikis across the map. They just blast it down. Hang on, Yuki, I think he should be able to get out here, but that is a giant amount of damage that follows him through. So, good Baron take by Schalke. Mysterious Monkeys then TP in with Kikis, but they have to wait. Kikis on Irelia is not a great team fighting champion, especially when you've gone for 2 damage items. You don't have any tankiness, so he knew if he goes headlong into Kadril and Memento and Upset, he will lose the fight. We'll watch that as it goes further forward. So Schalke have already killed the Baron before Kikis even starts the TP. And at that point, Mysterious Monkeys have two options. Schalke's only thought process is get out of here. They're able to kite back up the river. Kikis then doesn't commit because he cannot commit into 4 people while the rest of Mysterious Monkeys are crowd controlled. At this point, he's then blocked away. He can't quite find a target. He's looking desperately to get into the fight, and Schalke actually take this moment to continue chunking through Mysterious Monkeys. Such low health bars that Yuki can't commit to a fight. Dreams can't commit to a fight. Kikis can finally find an opportunity to go in, and look, one auto empowered with the Triforce is already enough to take Kikis' health down, but he gets Memento, looks for the reset, and then this is the reason. Oh, hang on, we're back into the live action.
Yeah, mid lane push here from Schalke 04 as they look for their second tower off this Baron. We said they were great at snowballing once they got a small advantage. Look at that gold lead now, Stress. 5,000 in favor of Schalke 04. And Mysterious Monkeys, even with a scaling composition, need to be able to weather this storm that Schalke are bringing.
The thing is, Schalke have great scaling alongside it. They got the Corki, the Varus even has good damage. He's not necessarily that massive late game carry, but still at this point of the game has good poke, has good damage when you can get autos out in fights, and Upset hasn't died. Kadel hasn't died. At no point have they been under threat properly in skirmishes. The last one was the closest we've seen, and Kadel made Kikis punished. He punished Kikis for trying to go on aggressively onto him. There was such a long fight, my grammar has just
mine went poof in the middle of the fight as well. Yuki has yet to die as well, and we said it would be a battle of AD carries. I think we showed why we thought that in the last fight as well. Yuki perhaps not able to be as effective as Upset, but Upset's positioning when Kikis jumped onto him at the end, the flash QSS away was just absolutely sublime.
A Schalke push for another tower. I want to take a small step back if we have the time here and just say that the one time Mysterious Monkeys were looking to fight, maybe they'll find it.
Instant QSS from Upset.
Beautiful.
Instantly.
Beautiful play to get out of that. The one time Mysterious Monkeys were looking to side lane push, Schalke knew they could commit to the Baron. It's the only time we've really seen Mysterious Monkeys trying to get this Aurelia working for them. And remember, we said this was their playstyle. This is what Mysterious Monkeys wanted to do. It's how they wanted to win the game, is get control of that side lane. There is still an opportunity, but Schalke have played around it very well.
That they have, and I want to rewind as well, Stress. I want to pull us all the way back to when we were talking about Kikis' build and why these early aggressive items could work for him. We say there weren't really many tanks on Schalke 04, but now we've got a Locket of the Iron Solari, a Knight's Vow on Memento. You've got an Aegis finished onto Norskeren as well. They are getting tankier, and it's going to make it even harder for Kikis to actually be able to shred through anyone if a teamfight erupts.
Even a Face of the Mountain has been completed, which a lot of the time we see the eye item taken, but at this point you can get that shield onto Upset as well, try and protect one of the carries a little bit more.
I just realized something funny about those items.
What?
It's the eye item. It's the selfish one, because Face of the Mountain helps other people, whereas the eye item is just for you. It just gives you stats and a few more wards.
I'm trying to play this off as if I realized that before.
100%
I didn't.
Stress.
So
Eye of the Oasis, Eye of the Watchers, Eye of the Equinox is actually the one that you have right here if he had gone for it, which he didn't.
There's one on the enemy team, though.
There is one on the enemy team. Thank you very much, Chessville, salvaging me from that situation. And at the moment, Mysterious Monkeys need some sort of way of getting themselves out of this hole that Schalke have dug for them. But Schalke continue in with the shovels. They will wreck the foundations of that tower, and they look for the inhib as well.
Oh, the siege opportunity now, trying to escape.
Amazing came in for the flank, and Norskeren actually just went all in on him with Kadel. That's half HP on your primary tank for the Mysterious Monkeys, and Schalke are very willing just to step up once again. Chain of Corruption does not quite connect. Kostu gets the stun. Smitty J down to half, as now Schalke look for the inhibitor. They will take it, and you assume they would back away because Mysterious Monkeys are going to try and take a fight if they can.
Oh, the damage Schalke can do at such lightning speed onto structures with this heavy poke siege. Not all AD, because look, Corki, mostly magic damage. Varus deals a mixed percentage against champions, at least. So it's not even like they've gone 3 AD carries and you can just build armor against it. This is a very effective composition with a Mountain Drake as well for actually punishing Mysterious Monkeys. If they are out of position to defend for even 5 seconds, a tower can just die.
Schalke show us why they were feared in the Challenger split. So good at utilizing a gold lead when they get even the smallest glimpse of an advantage. They now have a 6,000 gold advantage over Mysterious Monkeys. And We talked about the development we wanted to see from the Mysterious Monkeys. Stress early on it looked good, but now we're starting to see the team fights that we expect from Mysterious Monkeys. A little bit haphazard, not as well coordinated as some of the other teams in the promotion tournament.
I still think there might be a little bit left in the tank for this composition, though. If the Aurelia, I would assume, should be at the position where you could control the side lane, but here's another skirmish.
Norscaran lands a stun on the backline. Kadril almost stunned up as well. Upset forced away by Kikis, and now we'll start to see the damage coming out from the Mysterious Monkeys as they lock up two members. Smitty J dead, Norscaran dead as well, and the Baron is alive. Schalke have a loss of poke, and Memento, who has flash, can jump in and steal away this Baron.
Now, if they turn here and fight, maybe they clean up Schalke, but Mysterious Monkeys are getting chunked down.
CosQ down to solo. He's going to have to get out of the back of this fight. Has the flash, and now Mysterious Monkeys realize they cannot do the Baron. There's a minion wave pushing in bot. Schalke able to deter them and distract them, and Kadril's looking for a little bit more. The auto attack gets the kill onto CosQ. Mysterious Monkeys once again scuppered at the Baron.
They're just denying the recalls. They've got a poke composition. You can still continue to poke this down, and we may even see them commit for the Baron. They're waiting because, look, the super minions, if we can get a picture-in-picture, are already pushing into the Nexus towers.
Kadril cleanses the way, but Yuki will be able to take him down alongside Dreams. Memento caught out. Amazing in the front line as Upset has to QSS away. Memento tried to jump back. Will he be able to escape? Even with the Locket Shield, Kikis is on his way.
But
this
look,
will be a dead spider.
Going?
The TP's joining up at the Baron pit. Could just go to the base. Kikis has TP though. He's going to back instead. They're going for the Baron, and Mysterious Monkeys realize they cannot defend because they have to go back to their base.
Oh, Schalke being able to stop the backs for long enough, punishing Mysterious Monkeys for the Baron play all the way back. Schalke know, with the amount of poke they have, if Mysterious Monkeys commit to the Baron, they can move in, push them away from the Baron, deny them the recalls, and at least get more damage down to the base. There was the option for Smitty J to TP into the base, but the way more consistent option is TP onto the Baron, and you know you have won this game when you march those minions in. I think that's one of those moments you can look at, say there was another option here. I think game one, best of 5, TPing into the Baron for safety, likely to be that more composed option, and perhaps shows that little bit of growth out of Schalke from trying to make risky plays at times.
Exactly, and Mysterious Monkeys engage this so well. They split up the fight so incredibly effectively.
Kikis pushes Upset back, which grabs Memento's attention here, and that means Smitty J ends up falling, Norscaran ends up falling, and Kikis is able to come back over to the rest of the fight. But here, you start a Baron against a poke-focused team. Chains of Corruptions land. Look, every single thing is hitting CosQ first. Then they move their attention onto some of the frontline threats, like Amazing, who's tanking up the Baron. And at this point, Schalke, they've already done enough to defend the aggressive play out of Mysterious Monkeys. That is like basically max attack range that came through and followed him through the air. Unfortunate for CosQ, I think he was flashing as the animation started. So out of Kadril, that was basically him with a bit of a fortunate exchange. Look, it doesn't matter that Kadril ends up dying here. We're right back into the action. Remember, his Baron buff is in Schalke's grasp.
Hook onto Amazing as he's in the grasp of Norscaran. Look at the damage from Kadril. Amazing does not have a huge amount of resistances with that Warmox burst. The inhibitor tower is going to fall as Schalke look for their second inhibitor of the game. Only one Nexus tower stands between them and closing out game one of this best of 5.
That's a 4-item Corki. This is like one of the strongest points for Corki in the game. Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire, Static Shift. They're going in for a fight.
Amazing jumps in onto Norscaran in the front line of Dreams with a Glacial Fissure. This is a great choke point for Mysterious Monkeys, but that is a very dead Dreams. Smitty J takes an Unleashed Power. That's Jace down. That's one of the carries for Schalke, but they've got 2 more to help defend. And now Mysterious Monkeys will have to back away from the fight and allow Schalke to get the push in. They may even go for the Dragon.
Yeah, the inhibitor did respawn in the bottom lane here. It is a moment of reprise for Mysterious Monkeys. They can actually breathe a sigh of relief here for just a minute or 2 longer. It says Ocean Drake up in the top left of your screen. It is, in fact, the Elder Drake that has spawned as we are past 35 minutes. A much more important Drake for Schalke. They have 2 dragons already. This would be the fighting power that they don't necessarily need, but will absolutely help them close this game.
And you'll take it against a team that scales as well, or even perhaps slightly better than you for the fights. Amazing might look for the steal here. It's not going to jump across the wall. Memento will secure it. Schalke 04, Elder Drake, 2 Barons, 2 Dragons on top of it. They are looking for the close of this game.
Ooh, this has been a very tense game. Mysterious Monkeys not able to play their composition out exactly how they would like it with the Aurelia. Has had to bring Aurelia into a couple of skirmishes where if they're separate skirmishes, if it's not 5 members stacked, Kikis can find targets. But when it is head-to-head, 5 versus 5 with no flank opportunity, Aurelia's power to fight is reduced. Amazing, tried to go in on this one. Cosq and Kikis are actually off to the side. Cosq has built flat AP. He's got a Rabadons on top of everything here. So he's just trying to get as much damage as he can out. Gets the kill onto that squishy target of Smitty J. But at that point, Schalke were already pulling back away from the fight. They didn't want anything more. They just wanted to save themselves for another day.
As we get to the 40-minute mark of this game, one stress. I want to just look across those items that we were discussing. Make sure there's not an engage before I start that discussion. Full AP, as you say, on Cosq. He's got a Void Staff to back that up. 4 items on both of these AD carries alongside a QSS. We are getting to the point where team fights are determined purely by how good you are at the champion you're playing.
And how many auto attacks Cable can get off in a fight, because he has a lot of damage. Smitty J locked down, had to just QSS out.
Mysterious Monkeys, this is their last stand in this game. Kikis has a flank position off towards the top side. Cable down to half the unleashed power. He is dead, and now Schalke 04 realize that they need to be fearful of this Mysterious Monkeys roster. They will be able to back away for the time being, but that is a wake-up bell for Schalke if I have ever seen one. Perhaps they did not realize just how strong Mysterious Monkeys are. No,
of course, Cosq with that ultimate, as long as it's available, one of those squishy targets will get deleted, and there are no true tanks on the side of Schalke. You mentioned that 20+ minutes ago that there was nobody that would be able to absorb that type of damage. Tristana will still scale into the late game well, and this is the engage that ended up getting Schalke a little bit burned from this. It was Cadwell pushing forward after a lot of the ultimates were used. He got caught by some of the damage from Cosq, gets caught by the ultimate, and at that point Schalke have to retreat. Dreams was flashing forward to try and get Kikis into the fight, because if you can get one target with the Q, you can reset through the fight if you can get that first kill. But Kikis, unfortunately, not quite close enough, can't quite lock down anybody else, but this is dragging the game to another Baron. Remember, I said the words, that Baron should basically win the game for Schalke. TPing in on the Baron should theoretically give them a clean victory. At this point, you've got to say, hey, maybe Smitty J should have looked at the base, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. At this point, now you've just got to set yourself up for the next Baron and try and make that play.
100% stress, and it's important we stress how vital these wins are for these two teams as well. This is the promotion tournament. Schalke have never been here before, nor have the Mysterious, well, no, Schalke have been here before because they got relegated. The Mysterious Monkeys have never been here before, and they will want to get back into the LCS for the next split. Winning today sets you up so well for next week, because it means you only need to win 1 more best of 5 to guarantee your spot in the LCS. If you lose today, you have 2 best of 5 next week to try and get back into it. Dreams and Kikis wading off towards the side, not going to be able to get the engage. Schalke know they've got 2 inhibitors pushing in those side waves, and they're just looking for this mid tower and inhibitor.
Of course, Mysterious Monkeys, the players were all looking to get up into the LCS. Upwards was the promotion tournament movement for the last split. Now they're trying to hang on, hold on to their spot. Inhibitor comes up in the top lane. Inhibitor is a long way off in the bottom lane, and remember, this is a very similar situation to the last time. Schalke, exceptionally fast Baron play. Bottom lane Inhibitor is down. Kikis will have to go there. He will then have to TP up if MM try and take a skirmish here.
Prison comes in. He steals it, amazing, with the Baron secure.
But can they get away?
Forced off as well. It looks like they're going to get at least a couple of members away as Cosq actually gets chased out by Cadwell.
Kikis was waiting. Smitty J goes.
Smitty, oh, no way you're going to do this, Smitty J. He jumps in for the Nexus Towers, but Kikis still has his TP. He's going to get one. Oh, it's cancelled. He's going to get cancelled. I can't believe it. Yuki comes in onto Smitty J. This is all on him. He's 0-5 in this game.
No way.
He can secure it.
They can't lock him down. Cadwell's here too.
The exhaust. Cadwell there, the Unbreakable's going to stop him, but this will be the Nexus for Schalke 04 as they backdoor Mysterious Monkeys in game 1.
Oh my goodness, an end to that game. We thought Schalke had it in the bag off the previous Baron. They didn't even get the last Baron because Amazing came in and stole it away. But the TP play into the base with the Jace, Hypercharge comes through, in comes Cadril. Mysterious Monkey's desperate to hold on, but the last 2 minutes of that game is reason enough of why this matchup is so close. If you want evidence that these two teams are likely to go more than 3 games, that should show you.
I think the whole game shows you. Up until the 29-minute mark, we were saying, oh, this team's 400 gold ahead, Stress, and that's a monumental advantage for them. That was an absolutely epic game to start us off. An important point, both AD carries still unkilled at the end of that. So strong in teamfight, so passive in the lane as well. And even though we saw a lot of investment into the top lane for Schalke a little bit early on, Kikis did end up going 0-5. However, he had the... Oh, not hit Smitty J,
yeah.
Sorry. However, he had the hero play at the end that helped them get the Nexus. So doesn't matter how many times you die. It's not, don't be a KDA player, guys. Go for the Nexus. And that's what helps you win games. Very
different game with the top lane focus. You know, as you said, Smitty J ends up TPing in, getting the win for themselves. Really fun game. The Irelia Jace matchup was an interesting one to watch because Irelia never really took over. Like I feel like the power, the strength was there to take over, but Mysterious Monkeys weren't given the opportunity because Schalke played very well. The 2 times we really saw Kikis out down in a side lane, immediately that TP is forced out, and suddenly they have to really commit to that Baron. And
it was just
that was crazy happening.
The entirety of the game was incredible to watch because it was so used to seeing promotion tournaments be a little bit more bloody, be a little bit more heavy fight orientated. But both teams played very well around the macro, realized when they were behind. And we're going to come back to that final fight just to watch exactly what went down here, Stress. The Baron into the TP from Smitty J.
Okay, so this was the Baron take. I think the one important thing is whoever stops Kikis TP probably saved this game, because if a lethality Triforce Irelia shows up against this Jace, that is likely the turning point of the game. So you can see already at this point, the inhibitors were falling, the TPs came through. Who is it? It's Norscaron and Memento together actually stopped the TP. Smitty J knows he has the damage through, and as you were rightfully saying, Dreams trying to use the Unbreakable against both Cadril and Smitty J. There's a flood of minions through the top and bottom lane, and it's enough to push through. But that TP block on Kikis, I think, saved the game.
Neither team will be satisfied with that game, though. We've seen better play from both of them. Schalke and Fear will say, why did we let our lead slip in the way we did? Mysterious Monkeys will say, why did they get the lead early on? Why do we not just play to our later scaling composition? Why do we not just allow Kikis a little bit more time to farm up? It's going to be an incredible series to watch if that game is anything to go by. And I want to come back to just how you change things if you're Mysterious Monkeys, because do you change anything? That game was so close. All it took was 1 or 2 ganks here or there. It could have changed the entire outlook of the way the matchup played.
I think it's a very difficult one because to me, I don't know whether the champions were necessarily the issue, especially when you look at the bottom 4, where it's Amazing, Cosq, Yuki, and Dreams. I think that the champions actually worked very well in this situation. I'm not an Irelia expert, so I don't know whether that matchup was exactly how Kikis has had it play out in scrims. I think they may even say, okay, let's just try and take this type of setup again, maybe look at a slightly different top lane matchup and go again. The one thing is, Schalke were very good at dragging Mysterious Monkeys around the map when they were trying to get Kikis to work. So this playstyle might not be overall effective against Schalke. Maybe we'll need to see a full change up out of Mysterious Monkeys, but after one game, I'm not fully committed to saying that.
Such an analyst answer, Stress. Not fully committed. Well, Schalke are fully committed to putting the pressure on the Mysterious Monkeys with a strong start to the series. Let's see if they can stay on winning track in Game 2, coming up right after this break.